Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, guys. Hope you're having an amazing day because Trump is cleaning house right now. He's cleaning the deep state out, and he's not playing around. Trump has just revoked the security clearances and Secret Service protection for Alejandro Mayorkas, the same person who let in over 20 million illegals into the country at the border, was supposed to be in charge of this all, and just let it happen. And now that he's been revoked on a lot of these privileges, he's going to be brought before Congress to answer questions of why nothing was ever done with the border. Guys, every single thing that's coming, I love it. I love the accountability. Because I'm telling you what, it's getting worse. Today in Austin, Texas, police found bombs in a Tesla showroom. The incendiary devices were taken into police custody with the help of their bomb squads. But the Democrats are pushing this hate and this rhetoric of calling Elon Musk a Nazi and all this stuff, that people are literally taking it to the next level, and it's not safe for innocent people, especially people that just want to drive an electric car. They're still lying about Elon, and he said he's had enough, and he is going to be putting in lawsuits for every single congressman, woman, news anchor that has called him a Nazi, an oligarch, or anything in defamation lawsuits. And also for encouraging actions against Tesla dealerships, or even Tesla, the stock, or Tesla, the actual cars, in any way, form, or fashion. Just like the other night when it was a late night host that was telling about the Tesla dealerships being set on fire and people were laughing and cheering. All this has to stop, and he says he's had enough. And I'm super happy about that. Something needs to be done. It's ridiculous. But good news is that the Secretary of Interior came out and said that they cut $830 million in a contract to a consulting group that was doing useless surveys one by one on an 8x5 11 piece of paper with 10 questions that the Interior Secretary said that any junior high kid or an AI could put together and follow through with, saving Americans almost another $1 billion. Also, more news on the SBA loans that the federal government gave out during COVID. Doge literally found that there was a 9-month-old baby who received a $100,000 loan. And guess what? Can't find the baby. This is so crazy, guys, but I love the exposure. We got a ton of breaking news tonight, guys. Want to say thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you to all of our subscribers, to all of our members, guys. Y'all are the best. Thank you to everybody that supports our channel. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let us take care of you every day with the top news. I want to say thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. I want to thank Setsuko for the super chat. Y'all show Setsuko some love in the chat. And just thank everybody who shared these videos, guys. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. I want to thank Ruby Hoove for already gifting a TrueLife News membership. Show Ruby Hoove some love in the chat. Remember, we use this money, we give it to charity, guys. But just want to say thank you so much for your support. We got some crazy stuff to get into tonight, but I'm glad that accountability is coming. Check this out.
What do Democrats stand for? I know what they're against, literally basically anything that's good for America right now.
Oh, and if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support.
I mean, like, look, egg prices down, I mean, that's bad. Fuel prices down, also bad. Ending the war in Ukraine, apparently that's also bad. Canceling unaccountable money that goes to God knows who, also bad. More freedom, bad. It's amazing. And all the things they are for, people hate. When you lose Axios, the Democrat Party, when you lose Axios, this headline today, Dems dark deep hole. Yeah, you got problems. And Bill Maher, like the guy has been red-pilled, pointed this out over the weekend.
California's expected to lose 3 seats, New York 2, also going to lose a seat, Minnesota, Oregon, Rhode Island, Illinois, all blue states. Who's getting these? Texas, Florida, Idaho, and Utah. I mean, this looks like game over, you know, and the reason why people are voting with their feet is a lot of what your book is about.
Yeah.
Taxes and regulation.
Yeah, taxes and regulations. Democrats would turn the whole country into an HOA that bans the American flag if they could, I swear. The only things Democrats stand for are all the things everybody hates. I don't know if it can be any clearer. Hey, libs, the top states people are leaving are all blue. The top states people are going to are all red. You don't even need Common Core math to figure this out. And they still can't understand it. They have no idea why they lost the last election. It's actually amazing. It's like a case study in willful ignorance with Rosie O'Donnell, like on the government-funded cover sheet.
And is also best friends, and his largest donor was a man who owns and runs the internet. So I would hope that that would be investigated. Kamala Harris was filling up stadiums with people who supported her, and Donald Trump was not able to do that.
What?
Let's just unpack this for a minute. This woman and her reasoning and ignorance is exactly why Donald Trump won. Why he won every single swing state. Because you guys on the left, you ran an incoherent, babbling shell of a human who couldn't have a conversation with a normal person, and her priority was making sure her chair height was no less than 15 inches. Trump won every single swing state because by every metric, people were worse off last November than they were 4 years ago when Donald Trump left office. Swing states like Ohio had mass Haitian migrants moving into their neighborhoods with subsidies from the U.S. government that priced out lifelong Ohio residents out of their own neighborhoods. Because you had the governor of Pennsylvania signing bombs that were going to Ukraine that were also paid for by our tax dollars with Zelensky as a campaign event. People said, no, that was also a swing state. Michigan, big swing state, has been bleeding jobs because Democrats who have run the state for 50 plus years have made it prohibitively and regulatorily impossible to produce the cars that once fueled their economy there. Arizona, you had millions of illegal immigrants like flowing across the border at the rate equivalent to like Niagara Falls. They took jobs from Americans, they overwhelmed their healthcare systems and overpopulated their schools. That's why he won every single swing state, Rosie O'Donnell. And if you can't see that with your professorial, I'm better than you round glasses, I don't know what to tell you. But let me just replay this back.
And is also best friends, and his largest donor was a man who owns and runs the internet.
Okay, one, Elon doesn't own or run the internet. He has an ISP, which is obviously satellite internet. He owns Twitter. But two, this is incredibly rich, coming from the people who literally hired that woman right there, Nina Jankowicz, to run the Ministry of Truth out of our government to monitor the internet. I don't know what's worse, their blatant ignorance to facts, or the fact that she may be the only person on earth to ever fail an IQ test. Just to go back to this one again, too.
When Kamala Harris was filling up stadiums with people who supported her, and Donald Trump was not able to do that.
What? I seem to remember like black tarps, you can see them right there, pulled over the upper deck of stadiums at Kamala rallies because you couldn't fill them. I also remember when there were more press than attendees at some of her rallies. The only stadiums she did fill up were the people who are not even there for her. Remember when they advertised the heck out of Beyonce headlining a rally? Full stadium. It was a small stadium, but it was still full. Beyonce walks out, gives like a 3-minute, hey, ho, Kamala's great, walks off stage. People are shaking their heads. Then they started leaving when Kamala started talking. They didn't come for Kamala. They came because they thought they were going to get a free Beyonce concert. She did this with
And they also paid every single one of these people to be there. And we're not talking like 100,000. We're talking millions of dollars. Guys, the Democrats are losing it. Look at this. Everything that they say, people are tired of it. And I love it because they're going to keep doubling down and they're going to keep losing. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much, guys.
In the Horse, Lizzo, Bruce Springsteen, Katy Perry, Bon Jovi, J-Lo, Cardi B, and like a ton of other these people, celebrities that I've literally never heard of. They were endorsing her, they were showing up at rallies, and she was paying them, likely enough. And then attendees just bounced when Kamala started talking because nobody understood what she was saying. I also, just back to that point, I was at Madison Square, there I am right there, with Lydia. That place was packed I mean, filled to the brim. There are people outside Butler, Pennsylvania, where he got shot the first time. The second time around, Butler 2.0, that was twice as big as the first one. I mean, pick a city. Trump was doing 3 to 4 of these a day leading up to the election. He was filling them to capacity with people outside, waiting in the cold, like 14 degrees, tailgating, throwing a football. They bring out their campers. Do you live under a rock, lady? And 2 months ago, like 2 months into Trump's presidency, they have nothing to stand on. So this is what they're going with? Bernie Sanders, the socialist, and AOC and like her mom jeans out there running rallies. Stop the oligarchy. I'm sorry. We elected Donald Trump. And to be honest, an oligarchy is, as you can see here, a government in which a small group exercises control, especially for corrupt and selfish purposes. A small group, like, I don't know, a few handpicked judges appointed by a political opponent that are unilaterally overruling a duly elected president of the United States. That sounds a lot more like an oligarchy to me. Do I have to draw this out in crayon? This is why you're losing 9 congressional seats from deep blue states. This is why California is nearing a 50% marker of people who will support a Republican in the next and that's after all the Republicans already left the state. And while Democrat supporters are, planting incendiary devices like bombs and stuff at Tesla dealerships, Donald Trump is out there. He's bringing in $4 trillion. He announced this afternoon, $4 trillion in foreign investments into America because of his strategy, his tariffs, and his economic plan. So, what are you resisting, Rosie? You want to tax people for driving through their own cities, making them register their dogs, increasing evaluations on the buildings they live in so you can charge them more money without technically raising their taxes. You open new agencies to regulate the regulators and then hire countless bureaucrats. So if I have a question about anything for compliance, like, I don't know, building my own home, if I want to put a doormat out, you make it impossible for me to comply with the flavor of the day regulations. Don't get me started on the tax code that's over like 100 million words. You want to take away my ability to defend myself while simultaneously letting criminals out on bail. You put crack pipes in vending machines, but arrest people for paddleboarding out in the ocean without a mask during COVID. Your party doesn't have a leader. You don't control a single branch of government, and the majority of states have Republican governors. You have the lowest popularity rating in over half a century. Read the room. Media.
Guys, is that not the truth, guys? And again, too, they keep doubling down. They don't know how to learn. But what I love right here is what you see on the screen. President Trump is revoked. Let me zoom in a little bit, see if that works. Yeah. President Trump has revoked the Secret Service protection of former DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. This is a person who literally, look, all this that was happening, they just let it happen. Didn't even think twice about it. Allowed over 20 million illegals to come into the country. Didn't even bother them one bit. Because they knew they were going to try to turn them into what? Into voters. And now that it's getting insane, guys, the Supreme Court is getting involved. Trump administration just filed an emergency petition to the Supreme Court over, not just over the district judges ruling that he can't fire nobody, but now we got a district judge that is literally taking it to the next level. Like, you really find out what the heck is going on, who's running the country. But what I'm glad is that we're getting insight into the legal matters right here. Check this out.
I think Mike Johnson had on the Article 3 project puppet strings as he was doing that, and I'm joking. With all due respect to the speaker, no, this is very positive. What's happening with Jim Jordan and Speaker Mike Johnson in the House of Representatives? It's really important that the House and Senate step up and rein in these activist judges who are sabotaging the president's core Article 2 executive powers. They think they're the last line of resistance because they lost the election. They lost the House again. We won the Senate with a comfortable margin. President Trump has a broad electoral mandate to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, to secure our border, to fight terror.
But hang on, the left's going crazy right now, or blowing up. Specifically, to the best of your ability, what exactly has the head of the Judiciary Committee and the Speaker of the House committed to. Not on the voting, on the ISA, what Steve Scalise said about you can't have these crazy judges, you got to get a 3-part panel, whatever that works out. I'm talking about the impeachment. Johnson has been reported all week. He doesn't want to do impeachment. What has he empowered Jordan to do, and what has he said he's going to have his back on, sir?
Well, I mean, Jim Jordan is opening hearings and considering legislation, and I think that's important. But what we can't do is we cannot take the impeachment probe off the table. That is important to have that leverage. That's important to have that sword of Damocles over the judiciary's head. And I've been there. I've been the chief counsel for nominations on the Senate Judiciary Committee with the oversight portfolio, the upper chamber, the chamber that actually knows what they're doing. And if you don't have that leverage, you're not going to get the Chief Justice's attention. So you need to go after this on multiple fronts. You need to go after with impeachment inquiries. Even if they don't have the votes to impeach and remove, who cares? Make the process the punishment. Let this serve as a deterrent to other activist judges. I'd rather have judges fighting an impeachment probe than trying to sabotage the president of the United States during an ongoing national security operation. And then you have the funding. So the impeachment probe, you have the funding mechanism where you're going to cut off their funding. You also have jurisdiction stripping, where you're going to say that, for example, the D.C. District Court does not have the jurisdiction to handle these types of cases. And then you just have good old congressional oversight. Any of those 4 things will get the Chief Justice's attention. All 4 of them at once will make him panic. And that is the point. If the Chief Justice would simply follow the Constitution, follow Rule 65 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure on injunctions, and get his judicial house in order, we wouldn't be talking about any of this.
Is this the beginning of maybe all 4? I realize the hearings maybe support some of this legislation, but are the hearings going to get into judicial overreach and potentially the beginning of, hey, we could flip this into an impeachment inquiry, sir?
Look, I think there's evidence right now to impeach D.C. Obama Judge Jeb Boasberg, because not only was he issuing lawless temporary restraining orders, as these activist judges call these permanent injunctions, or these executive orders that they're illegally issuing, or their legislation that they're illegally enacting. It was very dangerous. Judge Boasberg exposed an ongoing national security operation, military intelligence law enforcement operation 2 Saturdays ago. That put American lives in danger, along with the lives of our allies. This judge ordered planes to get turned around over the Gulf of America. He didn't know the fuel levels. He didn't know the security footprint we had in America. We saw the security footprint in El Salvador, ready to take 200 plus of the worst terrorists in the Western Hemisphere. We didn't know what that security footprint was in America, because I seriously doubt we expected a judge would go run into his chambers on a Saturday and expose an ongoing operation and interfere with that operation, sabotage it in order to return of planes. And so this also harmed the president's ability to conduct foreign affairs on behalf of the country. How does a foreign leader trust the American president to have secret deals like this terrorist handoff, if the foreign leader's worried that an activist judge is going to publicly expose it and turn around the planes and humiliate this foreign leader who has his neck on the line physically and politically back in his home country? He has several hundred government officials waiting for these terrorists, and they don't show up, and he looks like the biggest idiot on the map. I mean, this is why the Supreme Court has long held that federal judges need to stay out of these military operations. They have to stay out of these foreign affairs. They don't have the ability to do this. That's why these powers are committed to the president and the president alone. And Boasberg keeps doubling down.
Okay.
Boasberg is now demanding information about this operation.
You see that? They're doubling down, guys. And again, it's like the Democrats, and it's not just at the federal level. Across the board, they are losing it. Listen to this, because I'm telling you, this is why I think, because of what the Democrats are doing in we're going to win the next 2 presidencies, because they've gone too far left. I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching, guys. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Listen to this. This is from the state of Maine. of what is happening in their Congress, and this is happening across all these states.
400 pages, $11.3 billion. That's the budget. It's not even balanced. It doesn't fund main care in the second year. And we were given this yesterday. After session, we were given an email at 12:30 that said amendments had to be ready by 4:30. How do you amend 400 pages of unbalanced garbage in 4 hours? The answer is you don't.
You see that, guys? That's how these Democrats are doing it now. They literally gave, like, this Republican congressman 4 hours to go through 400 pages and make all the amendments that they would like. And this is like happening across the United States. This is why you have states that are doing well in a surplus, like Florida. And then you have states that are in the deficit, like California, because they don't go over any of this stuff. And all they do is they continue wasting the taxpayer dollars. They get federal funding. And it's all of us are literally paying for their waste, fraud, and abuse. Check this out.
The Democrat disaster gets even worse, and the Now Party is looking for uber-progressive AOC to save them. Dems are in the deepest hole in nearly 50 years, and this may not be rock bottom. The party has its lowest favorability ever. Young voters are flocking to the right. Americans are fleeing blue states in droves, and they have no national leader. Don't believe me? Watch for yourself.
Are you feeling pressure to step down?
Look, I'm not stepping down.
The American people are fed up with the old guard. There needs to be a renewal.
This looks like game over, and the reason why people are voting with their feet is a lot of what your book is about.
Yeah,
taxes and regulation.
You know what the problem is with the left? They seem too lame. They do. They got it. It's true. It needs a revamping.
Meanwhile, Bernie is touring the country trashing Trump, Elon, and the oligarchs. The socialist blowhard doesn't want to answer the tough questions plaguing his party.
Would you like to see her join in the Senate?
Right now, we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
No, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
No, fine, but I don't want to talk about this. What was the last question?
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier if you're
But is there a far left light at the end of the tunnel? The New York Times is hyping up AOC as the 2028 answer to all of the Democrats' problems. Jesse, you know what? Some of the Dems say that they're fed up with the old guard, but isn't the failure of the party about the progressives, which are ostensibly the younger group? And, are they blaming, who are they blaming
Let's
now?
not let them think the progressives are the problem. Let's let them run AOC. They're 0-2 running women, so I think just roll the dice again, run AOC, and let the chips fall. It is funny how the old guard tries to keep the young generation down. It's creating this little bottleneck. It's fun to watch. We had that problem. We don't have that anymore. We have a whole new, fresh crew of young bloods running around. And they accidentally leaked something to the media instead of
They didn't leak it, they
Democrats
invited him in.
actually leaking classified information to to Jessica.
No.
All right? At least they didn't homebrew a server and acid wash it. But her emails, I just did it.
Mar-a-Lago toilets, and they invited him in.
Mar-a-Lago toilets?
Yeah,
What are you talking
where
about?
the national security secrets that were
This is a
subpoenaed.
family show, Jessica. Clean it up.
Can we just stick with
All
the
right?
topic today?
A famous Greek philosopher,
Dang.
Jessica, Heraclitus, or Clitus, I don't know. I hope it's not the last one.
Watch your mouth.
It's definitely not Heraclitus.
Said change is the only constant in life. And Democrats forgot that axiom because they thought they'd always have the youth vote.
Yep.
They thought that the non-white vote would keep Democrats in power forever, but they were both wrong. but they have longer term structural problems. All of these people are leaving blue states and moving to red states, and you guys are losing electoral votes. So the next election, you could win the entire Rust Belt and then not hit 270. Ooh. Because you didn't think the people had the agency and the initiative to leave your horrible dens of corruption and incompetence and go to a place with greener pastures or redder pastures. You've lost the culture, you've lost your credibility, and you've lost your two pillars of propaganda, Twitter and the media. So right now you're in a civil war. The normie wing of Fetterman and Rahm want to do things right. And then you have AOC and Bernie. And I see three scenarios, Jessica. I see you guys running a progressive and having that person get demolished, and the normies say, see, I told you so. Or you run a normie and the progressives boycott it, and then they lose again. Or an independent pops up. And he basically fractures the party like Perot did to the Republicans, and you lose again. All of these are losing scenarios that I just laid out. Do you have a winning scenario?
Let's go to data. Data. Now, you've got Bernie Sanders and AOC, and they're getting some big crowds. And Bernie Sanders is now admitting that, you know, the Democratic Party was wrong about the border and that Trump was right about cracking down on the border.
Yes.
But AOC doesn't agree with that. She's totally opposite. I mean, so as a team, they're not really on the same side.
I think that their crowds, it is impressive. Like if you have the fact that the Democrats are basically in the doldrums and circling the drain, and then you get, 20,000 people to show up at an event. But I think that they could have done that anyway, because Bernie Sanders has had a constituency for a long time. It's sort of like Ron Paul has a constituency. Like people love him. There are people who love Bernie Sanders, and AOC is smart and she's opportunistic. And she says, I can help. And Bernie is smart because he knows I'm 83 years old. I need somebody to come out here and help me with these crowds. And she can whip up a crowd. The problem is they're not building any numbers. They're just replowing the same old ground.
Yep.
She said over the weekend, we need someone who will fight harder for us, not fight smarter. And that's one of their big problems. They have already lost the working class to MAGA. Mm-hmm. So they're sitting there saying, the rich people are awful. And MAGA saying, yeah, we agree. The rich people are terrible. But their big constituency is college-educated women. And now they have them, but the youth vote is so interesting. This new report that David Shore did said that that is the thing that is the most alarming to him. And it's almost like the reverse of what happened in the 60s. Or I would say 60s. And so we're living through this political realignment. And I would also add just one other thing. There's all the sorts of things that happen, the COVID closures in the Biden administration, but the obsession from Obama through Biden on climate change, in which they used a lot of taxpayer dollars in order to fund some crazy stuff that is going to have...
Y'all remember? They used, $9 billion to build 7 supercharger stations to charge electric vehicles? $9 billion. Not million, billion. 7 supercharger stations built. Nothing that the government does when it comes to this stuff is ever good. They suck at it. But again, too, the climate change. They don't believe it, guys, because they're all selling their Teslas and going and buying some gas-powered Tahoes or Yukons. And it's all because of the agenda. The agenda now is we hate Elon, so now we can't save the world. Bunch of hypocrites.
Lasting implications. Not only was there corruption and fraud, Stacey Abrams getting $2 billion, for example, but also if you live in New Jersey, for example, you are about to have to swallow a huge increase in your electricity rates. Why? Because that state government under Phil Murphy has pushed through something even more onerous than even the ones that are here in New York City. So all of these things are continuing to remind people who have an affordability problem that the Democrats don't stand for them.
Guys, and I'm telling you, it's getting worse and it's worse and worse for them, but it's just because the spotlight is on them. They've always been this bad. But now that Trump has won, now that we got the Senate, we got the House, we got Elon Musk, we got X, we got Doge, we're just seeing everything that's always been there. But I want to say thank you so much, Tracy Hall. Welcome to the family. And Scott Matthews, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, so happy we helped Boys Ranch. Excuse me. God bless everyone. Let's go. And welcome to the family, Joseph. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody. So let me know your thoughts on this, because Elon is getting some big heat over this. He posted, so the Babylon Bee put Elon Musk disguises IRS building as Tesla dealership, so Democrats will burn it down. And remember, they're satire. This is satire. And then Elon Musk put, turns out that we can get radical leftists to burn down any government department if we just put a Tesla logo on it. This will be so easy, they will never figure it out. And guys, everybody is going after Elon right now saying, what are you saying? You're wanting people to burn down the government bills? No, he's just playing fun with this. But this is how crazy they think now, guys. And it's like, you can't have satire. They can actually go and burn up cars, and that's like, to a lot of people it's okay, but he can't make a joke because now he's wrong and we got to do this and we got to do that. And all it is, guys, is just proving the point that we need to get these radical leftist judges out of here and put common sense people in the White House. I want to say thank you so much to everybody who's watching, guys. If you don't mind doing us a favor and hitting that thumbs up like button, we appreciate your support. We do got an update for you from Mike Johnson himself on the judges, the impeachment hearings, and all that. Check this out.
Threats by some conservatives to try to ease some of these judges. And is that, but Rick, is that a bridge too far?
Look, everything is on the table. Impeachment is an extraordinary measure. We're looking at all the alternatives that we have to address this problem. Activist judges are a serious threat to our system. It has increased in number. It has increased in intensity. If you look at the statistics that the White House shared, they looked at over the last 100 years, 67% of injunctions were issued against one president. His name is Donald J. Trump. And of those, I think the number was 92% of that number were by known partisan Democrat-appointed judges to the bench. This is not the way the system is supposed to work. So we're going to have hearings to highlight the abuses. I suspect that we may wind up questioning some of these judges themselves to have them defend their actions. And then we'll see about limiting the scope of federal injunctions. If one judge should not be able to suspend and uphold everything that a president does on their business, I think the American people agree with this.
But I'm concerned about Trump officials transmitting classified war plans on unsecured channels.
Listen, the administration, as I understand, I just was with the president in the Oval Office just now. The administration is addressing what happened. Apparently an inadvertent phone number made it onto that thread. They're going to track that down and make sure that doesn't happen again. What you did see, though, I think, was top level officials doing their job, doing it well, and executing on a plan with precision. That mission was a success. No one was jeopardized because of it. We're grateful for that, but they will certainly, I'm sure, make sure that doesn't happen.
But it talks on signal. They're talking on signal.
I'm not going to characterize what happened. Clearly, I think the administration has acknowledged it was a mistake, and they'll tighten up and make sure it doesn't happen again. I don't know what else we can say about it.
Should Mike Walton heads up be disciplined?
No.
You got a long way to go on reconciliation. You sticking by the idea this is going to be done in 3 weeks?
I'm moving this as aggressively as possible.
Is that going to be done this week, though? Next end of the work week?
The House and Senate are in the process of coordinating. We are one team. There is no daylight between us. I know the media is trying to portray this as some sort of big dispute. It's not. We have tremendous respect. I have tremendous respect for the senators over there, Republican senators, who are trying to do the same job that we are, and that is deliver on the America First agenda. The reconciliation process, that one big beautiful bill is the way that we will do it. And so we are coordinating all the efforts together to make sure the two chambers are aligned. There are lots of good ideas. There are lots of bright minds working on this. We have the next several weeks to do that. This is all part of the process. We are right on time. I have said originally I would like to get the bill to the president's desk before Easter. If that doesn't happen, it is not the end of the world. We are doing this quickly. Why? Because we have to deliver for the American people. This is the bill that will settle the markets. It will help the economy flourish even more than it already is. We'll make sure that the border is secure. We'll make sure we maintain peace through strength. And we'll make sure we don't have the largest tax increase in U.S. history all at once. So high important priorities that we're working on. We got to be consensus and agreement amongst many different parties to do that, but we will. You guys have always underestimated us. Don't underestimate us on this one. It's going to get done.
You got a lot of things, guys. We'll see you guys later.
So, guys, you see right here, they're moving. Things are happening. But I'm telling you what, it always blows my mind whenever it takes them so long to do this stuff. And I'm like, don't y'all do this like every year? Haven't y'all been doing this for the past 100+ years? like in modern times of developing these bills? Like, don't you have like a template? But again, why are they? It's going to be big, guys. We're probably talking thousands of pages that this new bill is going to be, and you're going to, you know it, that we're going to be going through it all. Want to say thank you so much, Michelle Lindsay, for the super chat. Let's go. Said the Democrats know it's game over for them. FAFO 100%. Y'all show Michelle some love in the chat. I wanted to show you this because this was sent by the Rapid Response 47. So this is the actual this is a White House response team that is just showing the transparency to everybody that these Democrats are explicitly saying that they're not going to work with Trump, they're not going to work with ICE, and they're going to defy Trump's executive orders. In this video, Kathy Hochul confirms New York State Police will not cooperate with ICE to deport violent criminal illegal immigrants, and says counties that do cooperate are renegade. So literally, the counties that are choosing to work with Trump, those are renegade, that are trying to get the criminal illegal aliens out of here. Like, this is what we're dealing with, guys. This is, you can't make this stuff up of how far removed from reality and from putting America first these people are. But it's getting worse for the Dems, and I love it. Check this out.
The Democratic Party's in the deepest hole it's been in nearly 50 years. That's not me saying it, they're saying it. And they're saying it could actually get worse. They're the most unpopular they've ever been. And remember, this party held slaves. And now they're being told to go into hiding.
If you're a Democrat, I'm going to tell you the worst thing that you could do right now. Speak for that party. Okay? That party's brand is in such disarray. They have no ideology. My only problem with the Democratic Party is that even the people that are good, the brand of being a Democrat is so bad.
Yeah, you got to rebrand that.
This shit up. The brand's so toxic that lifelong liberals aren't even staying to fight. They're moving to Ireland. Where'd they come up with that plan? In therapy.
I feel on the verge of crying when I was there, when he got elected. I luckily had a plan with my therapist. Hope she's watching. Hi, Ann. And I said to her, should he be elected, which none of us thought was going to happen, I need a plan. And the plan was always and only Ireland.
The Democrats who are staying don't have a plan. Axios says, talk to 20 Democrats and you'll find each one has a different theory on why they lost. And Rosie's theory is a conspiracy theory.
So I would hope that that would be investigated and that we would see whether or not it was an anomaly or something else that happened on election night in America when Kamala Harris was filling up stadiums with people who supported her. And Donald Trump was not able to do that.
She sounds like Trump. Biden didn't win. Did you see my crowds? It's hard to win if you don't know why you lost. And George Clooney's out there saying, don't look at me.
Looking back on that, happy you did it?
Yeah, I'll make it kind of easy. I was raised to tell the truth. I had seen the president up close for this fundraiser, and I was surprised.
What?
And so I feel as if there was a lot of profiles in cowardice in my party through all of that. And I was not proud of that. And I also believed I had to tell the truth.
Clooney just said his party's full of lying cowards. And he calls himself brave for telling the truth. Well, I guess he's brave because you're not allowed to tell the truth in his party. And if you do, they take you out.
Wow.
But the rest of the country didn't need Clooney to tell them Joe was toast. We knew it for years. And we don't need a permission slip from Barack to tell the truth. Suddenly, all these Democrats want credit for telling the truth when the stakes are low. Bernie just came out and said his party's trash.
It saddens me that when the Democrats had control of the Senate, they did virtually nothing for working people. And I have to say that I'm a member of the Democratic caucus as an independent, so I'm not going to lie to you and tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
And since then, do I think the Democrats have been effective in rallying the American people in stopping Trump's movement toward oligarchy and authoritarianism? No, I don't.
Burn Dog just told the country, walk away from the Democrat Party and be an independent. But Bernie's just as big of a hypocrite as Clooney. Bernie never said any of this when Democrats were in power. Now he wants Chuck's head on a platter.
Dang.
MoveOn.org says it's time to move on from Schumer. They say their frustrations are at a boiling point. And if nothing changes, donors are ready to yank their funds out. Schumer can smell the coup coming.
Leader Schumer, are you feeling pressure to step down?
Look, I'm not stepping down. And let me just say this, Kristen.
Guys, let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen, because this is going to be hilarious. This guy who's been the leader in the Democratic Party for a long, long time is about to get cooed. He's about to lose it just like Biden did. Let me know what you think is going to happen. And thank you so much for your support, guys. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much.
I knew when I cast my vote against against the government shutdown that there'd be a lot of controversy, and there was.
Chuck's wounded, the clock's ticking, and the Bernie bros smell blood. The progressives are primarying the old-timers. Watch.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk are dismantling our country piece by piece. And so many Democrats seem content to just sit back and let them. So I say it's time to drop the excuses and grow a spine. I'm Kat Abou-Ghazaleh, and I'm running for Congress in Illinois' 9th District.
That woman right there, Kat, she used to work at Media Matters. She used to clip things we said on Fox and try to get us all fired. Now she's running for Congress. This new generation gets going, it's going to get ugly.
The problem for Democrats right now is if they're primaried by a bunch of Bernie Sanders, AOC-type Democrats, they're going to have a real hard problem flipping the House.
Democrats lost two big bets, that they'd always win the youth vote, and when the country got less white, Republicans would be finished. And they were dead wrong on both, and now their coalition's crippled. Ezra Klein, a big-time liberal thinker, says with the way the party's heading and with the number of Democrats moving out of blue states, Democrats could be out of power for the next 15 years.
Let's go.
Everyone's moving to red states. It's boosting Republicans' electoral votes. So the Democrats could sweep the Rust Belt and still not hit 270. They lost the working class, and all their leaders aged out. A new poll asked Democrats who best reflects the core values of their party, and AOC came in first place. Wow. AOC is already taking shots at Schumer, saying we need a party that fights harder. And Fetterman told her to shut up. Fight harder, he says, a stunt that would have harmed millions and plunged us into chaos. We kept our government open. Deal with it. Oof. Fetterman just told a woman to deal with it. Are Democrats allowed to talk to each other like that? Now the media is not even getting along with the Democrats.
Okay, you're out there with AOC today. Would you like to see her join you in the Senate?
Right now, we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
No, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff.
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier to.
Who storms out of an interview and then comes back and sits down? What was that? You got to commit. They want AOC to run against Schumer and knock him out because at least AOC can get a crowd, even though it's basically the same crowd Bernie's been getting for 10 years. But some Democrats think she's the ticket.
Newsom is obviously setting up for a run for the presidency in 2028. And I'm not so sure that his current strategy is really going to work, because what he's doing is he's trying to appeal to the right. But what I see is people like AOC and Bernie Sanders, who are further left than politicians we've seen in the mainstream in modern American history, garnering so much support, breaking records with attendance at rallies. What the left may need right now is possibly somebody further to the left, not further to the right.
Oh my
So the country's moving right, and Democrats think the way to win is to move left. Everyone fled California, and Democrats are like, I know, let's run the country like California.
I mean, this looks like game over, and the reason why people are voting with their feet is a lot of what your book is about. Taxes and regulation. I certainly have been screaming about it forever. I did 3 years with a sign here that said, how long is it going to take me to get my solar hooked up? 3 years. Talking about it on television in this state. You couldn't do it.
Democrats can't stop the things they want to stop or build the things they want to build. Do they have any ideas that are different than Donald Trump? because saying, I don't like what he's doing is not an idea. Listen to what Democrats want to campaign on next year.
Well, we could eliminate all voter registration laws. See, when Democrats get in charge, we try to protect voting rights. We don't make voting easier. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1787. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1821. We only started having voter registration, generally speaking, after the Civil War. Why do you think that is?
Don't regulate who gets to vote. That's not even an idea. That's just cheating. Politics is basically about getting people on your side. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. Patronage, persuasion, inspiration. Kid Rock is doing conversion therapy.
Kid Rock was here a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I want you to meet Trump. He said, I'm going to take you to the White House. So now we're going to do that.
I think that's
and
a good
there will be
conversation.
lots of people on the left who will be like, how dare you talk to this man? I was like, I'm not playing this game that you mean girls play.
Yes.
Where like, oh, you know what? You can't sit at my lunch table because I'm just not talking to you. Not talking to you, you lost the election. Who the do you think you have to talk to?
Dang.
Bill Maher, Gavin Newsom, Stephen A., they lost, and they want to talk to the winning team. This is how it happens. Once you start talking to the other side, you stop hating them because you see them as humans. And then you find out you have a lot in common. And the next thing you know, you're sleeping with the enemy. The Democrats have gone so far left that Gavin, Maher, these guys, they're just looking for a new home. It happened with Rogan, Tulsi, and RFK too. Republicans have this big, beautiful tent. Why don't you stay for a minute? Spend the night.
Guys, I'm telling you, I got to show you the receipts on all this stuff that's coming out with the AOC, the Bernie Sanders rallies. I want to say thank you so much, Gene Copedge, for the super chat. Let's go, said George Clooney, telling the truth after the fact. LOL, 100%. Y'all show Gene some love in the chat. Dude, look, I used to like Clooney. I think he did great in some movies. Definitely not Batman, though. But it's just, guys, stay out of the politics. Just stay out of it. Like, nobody wants to vote for a person just because a celebrity voted for him. But I want to show you this, guys. So 84% of Bernie Sanders and AOC rally attendees in Denver had participated in at least 9 other DNC protests or rallies. What's going on here? It's called they're paid, guys. They're literally paid for. That's what people don't get. Like, again, too, there is so much that is coming out right now, and I hate it because there's stuff I'd love to show you, but if I did, that I would 100% get copyrighted or something like that. But USAID, the Pentagon, all these things, they've all been controlling. Why do you think they couldn't figure out where the almost $900 billion was going, and they failed these audits? Because this is a person that I know, Mike Benz. You might know him, but this guy did an interview with Joe Rogan. Came out and said a lot of things. He said the USAID has been the worst scandals of the U.S. in the past 50 years. Check this out. He said the CIA used USAID to fund LGBTQ-style left-wing street riots in Russia. They have been messing with everybody using our taxpayer dollars, guys. That's the crazy part. And now that it's gone, why do you think they're going crazy? You've never seen Democrats say the things that they've been saying. You've never seen them get as unhinged as they have been getting, and it's because the gravy train has stopped. And now we need to know what the heck is going to happen next. Listen to this.
Soon on these activist judges, and he joins us now. So in 2 months, sir, Trump's had 15 lower court injunctions. 2 months. Obama had 12 over the course of 8 years. That tells the story, doesn't it?
It sure does. These judges, I mean, the left's being the left. They actually think that unelected judges, unelected bureaucrats should have more say in policy and actions than the guy who put his name on a ballot and got elected as president of the United States as commander in chief. So, and then when you look at this Judge Boasberg's decision, it was one of the dumbest I've ever seen, because he in essence said, turn the plane around, bring back the bad guys. Bring them back to gang members, hardened criminals here illegally who did terrible things. Turn the plane around and bring them back. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. So we're going to be talking about that, as well as these injunctions that you mentioned that have happened so often around the country.
Dear Lisa has a bill to block district judges from issuing these nationwide injunctions. Why should some partisan judge, probably in a very partisan area, be able to stop something from happening all across the country, be able to prevent the president from doing the work to the entire country? I think that makes sense. It's amazing to me that that is the way it works.
Yeah, no kidding. I always say, why should some judge in Timbuktu, California be able to decide policy for the entire country? There you go. So that bill, good bill, we've already passed it out of committee. We had a hearing on that. We talked about that. We passed it, taken a vote, and it looks like our leadership is going to put that on the floor for a full Congress, for a vote in front of the full Congress next week. But it's a good bill. It says the decision should apply only to the parties in the case in that respective jurisdiction, shouldn't have nationwide implications. And if there are a couple of state attorney generals bringing in action, well, then it goes to an expedited appeal process again. Legislators will be trying to put some common sense back into this and let the president get his policies done that he was elected to do.
I mean, you're head of the Judiciary Committee. I mean, it's in your opinion, because there's conservatives like Andrew McCarthy we talked about last week that say that the president is not on solid legal ground in this decision that they've made. How do you see it? I mean, what's your
I respectfully disagree. I think he's on strong constitutional ground. Article 2, Section 1, first sentence, executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. So this is the president. He was elected. This is his power, particularly when you talk about national defense. Second, the Alien Enemies Act talks about a predatory incursion as a reason the president can take this type of action. Well, what else do you call this gang? Trinidad Agua gang coming in here doing the terrible things they're doing, entering. They're not coming in here because they're Boy Scouts wanting to do nice things. They're here for bad things. And they've done those things, and they're here illegally. So I think he's on strong statutory ground. And then finally, it's what we talked about before. It's this decision is stupid. And then when you couple the fact that this Judge Boasberg, has a history which looks like it's been politically targeted against President Trump, specifically what he did with on the FISA court relative to the whole Trump-Russia collusion baloney. I think you put all that together and you can begin to make the case this judge looks like he's operating in an entirely political fashion, which you're not supposed to do when you sit on the bench.
It seemed to me a little screwy when we found out that he was basically a tourist for I think the Trump court proceedings in Washington. He went in, even though that wasn't his jurisdiction, he went in just to watch the president go through this process, and it was almost like he was a fangirl for the prosecutions of an ex-president, which I
he
thought
also
was
gave
telling.
Also, Rob, that is important. But he also gave the slap on the wrist. He was part of giving the slap on the wrist to Kevin Kleinsmith, the guy who altered a document that was taken to the FISA court and was used to get the warrants to spy on President Trump's campaign. Right. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, again, everything, I'm about to show you something, guys. Everything's been uncovered. I'm actually going to pull this over. I'm not going to play the video because, again, too, guys, it's like I want to show you things, but I don't want to get copyrighted. But this is a video from Mike Benz, who's a super just in the know, knows everything when it comes to a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. But I want to say thank you so much, Lay Lewis, for the super chat. Let's go. Said, I don't think there's no other human being greater than President Trump to represent our country and fellow Americans. Thank God he's got a huge mop bucket and broom to clean up the mess he was left with. 100%. I love it. Y'all show Lay some love in the chat. Guys, what facts that the chat is spitting out. I love it. This is what Mike Benz said. We need to create a legacy in the pipeline of people to carry on these reforms. Worse things are about to be discovered. Doge is about to find at the Pentagon a $35 trillion Pentagon black hole that's larger than the entire national debt. Just the black hole and the size of accounting budget of the Pentagon over the years from its continual failing. Makes sense. That's why we can't pass an audit for the past 7 years. The Pentagon has lost $35 trillion in accounting. This isn't some conspiracy theory. This is reported by Yahoo Finance. You can't actually Google it. It's real. Mike Benz says Elon Musk, Doge, and Donald Trump are making the first meaningful blows to the bureaucracy. This is the first serious time in history that the foreign policy establishment has to be accountable to the people who pay for it. Guys, this is how crazy it's getting and how deep they're getting. They are unraveling all the corruption, unraveling all the fraud, waste, and abuse. Even this right here, he came out and said that in a Biden 2021 military document, USAID is this is what was said in the Biden military document. USAID is going to swoop in along with other NGOs to establish job fairs near the protest areas. USAID is going to swoop in along with other NGOs to establish job fairs near the protest areas so that these racially inflamed African workers want to take to the streets, they don't need to worry about losing their careers at those companies. They just go on strike because they can be on U.S. taxpayers' dime, baby. It's going to be U.S. truck drivers median income $45,000 to $50,000 a year paying for a striking African worker to get no-show jobs as part of the race right operation. Guys, this is the stuff that's coming out. This is the stuff that's being exposed. That USAID, all these slush fund monies, they've all been feeding the beast of the Democratic Party for a long, long time. And now, why do you think Trump shut it down? Put it down to its bare minimum. Because he knows where the money was going. He knows that it was taxpayer dollars being used for the most idiotic things, but also to fund the Democratic Party. And now that that's stopped, that's why the Democratic Party is losing every single fight that it's in now. And I'm glad because, again, too, this is taxpayers' money that through the NGOs, through all these slush funds. Remember, there was one thing that I'm trying to remember, that it was during the Haiti, whenever they had the earthquakes in Haiti, I think that they said less than 10% of the $4 billion that went to Haiti actually reached the people of Haiti. That 90% stayed in Washington, was paid to contractors, was paid to legal firms, was paid to all these people, not the Haitians. Less than 10% of that money went there, of the $4 billion. Back in 2010, guys, this has been happening for a long, long time, but I'm glad that we finally have accountability, and you can thank Trump, you can thank Doge, you can thank all of them for it. Ooh, check this out. Ooh, I love this stuff. And something just broke. Check this out, guys. We bring the receipts. Breaking. Trump administration tells judge in Alien Enemies Act case that it will provide him no information for the flights and is exercising the state's secret doctrine. This is the actual notice invoking the state secrets privilege. So remember that judge was trying to get all the information about the flights that were going out to the other countries taking the criminals. Now Trump has invoked the state's secret doctrine so that he doesn't have to tell any of those about the details concerning those flights. Thank you. This is something that, again, too, it's crazy. I feel like the Supreme Court may be taking this to the back burner, but they've got to do something, everybody. They have to step in and let everybody know who the heck is running this country. Is it just any judge out of the 800 plus district judges in America? Is it any one of them, or is it the president of the United States of America? Want to say thank you to everybody who's watching, guys. Thank you to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let us take care of you with the top news every day. And if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, we really appreciate all your support. We're loving all the winning. The winning is happening every single day. but we just want to make sure that we continue exposing every single thing that is fraud, waste, and abuse, and also showing you all the receipts and making sure that you have all the truth. But I want to give some love to those in the chat, guys. Thank you so much, Ruby Hoove, Tracy Hall, Scott Matthews, Joseph, Michelle Lindsay, Gene Copedge, Lay Lewis. Y'all show them some love in the chat. Y'all are so amazing, guys. We are so happy to serve you every day with the top news, and we're happy because we're winning. Everything's getting exposed, and we are going to make sure that America's put first. We love you all. Appreciate you so much.